Which means back to Felinora's Rest we go. And Gael, whatever happened to you, if you are our opponent, please go easy on me. Because really, you are going to be the final boss of the last DLC, the final challenge. And with the madness of Medir and the Demon Prince up until now, I honestly would be lying if I wasn't at least a little bit afraid of what awaits me.
So afraid that you even forgot to unequip your cat ring and re-equip your SS ring, I see. And you didn't put a Divine Blessing on your hotbar even though it was your saving grace against Medir. Maybe this levels the playing field a little bit between the two of you. After all, that final faith level is surely going to make the difference.
Which means, Gael, you went after the Dark Soul of Man. The Red Hood has come to eat our Dark Souls. Oh boy, what happened to you, Gael? What happened? And still, why? What? I'm not even going in that direction. I do not want to mess around with the Ringed Knight. But Gael sent us this way. He's been luring us all this time. Why? What is his grand plan if he could just do it himself? Because that's what I'm currently wondering. But anyway, here we go. Okay, honestly, I was expecting the boss fight to trigger right as we walked through that door, but apparently not. This is 100% an arena, though. Oh, yeah. Oh, he has slaughtered all the furtive pygmies. The Pygmy Lords. Oh, boy. Yeah, this is a massacre. Just another one sent crawling away. I truly fear that this is no longer the Gael that we used to know.
What? Still here? Hand it over, that thing, your dark soul. For my lady's painting.
He doesn't even recognize us anymore. Oh, don't you dare go all Artorias on us. Slave Knight Gael. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant start. Brilliant start. Okay. Be prepared for multiple attacks. Slow and steady, as always, wins the race. Definitely. No. Okay, no. Okay, no, okay, that sounds... I'm sorry. Gael, that hurts. A lot. Oh, dear. Come on, friends. Come on. Go. Okay, are we going to play it like that? Definitely playing like that. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh. Oh, this is so... Ow. Gael! Stop it! Ow! Oh, this is a horrible start. Let me go, please. Thank you. Oh, dear. Yeah. No. Please do not. No, no, not again, not again, not again. Last time we did this, you went absolutely insane on my health. Dudes, you're problematic to me. Quite problematic. No. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Little by little, little by little. Little by little. That is how we do it. This would be a viable moment to say, now the real fight begins. I think.
Is this the blood? The blood of the dark soul.
Oh, God, no. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do this in one try. Prepare yourself. This is gonna be madness. Honestly, dude, you are terrifying. Oh, no, no, no. What changed? What's changed in your attacks? Definitely something. No. You have... Oh. Ooh. Don't tell me your cloak has additional hits to it. It has. Oh. Come on. Finding the right moment to heal against you is gonna be difficult. No. Really? Really? How many additional tricks have you got up your sleeve? No. 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 God. God. Oh, I'm so dead. So dead. Okay, 2 hits at a time. 2 hits at a time. No. Really? Can you not? Please. Come on. Oh, okay. That does not sound good. That does not sound... That ain't good. That ain't good. Oh. I'm sorry. Lightning? Oh, you're kidding me. Oh. You're kidding me. Oh. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, you're so kidding me. Oh, you're so kidding me. Okay, you know what? Actually, no. I was about to say this is going rather nicely. But I don't want to count my blessings too soon. Especially not against this madness. Okay, come on, Gael. Come on. The last battle at World's End. Only one of us makes it out. Only one of us makes it out. God. Oh, no. 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 God. The terrifying Gael. Honestly. Terrifying. Way too terrifying. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. No, God. Okay, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. Really bad. Okay, that's my last heal. Okay, okay, okay. Back off. Back off. Back off. Back off. No. God. This is it. This is it. This is it. I should have grabbed my... Ow. Divine Blessing. I really should have grabbed my Divine Blessing. Because I don't see myself surviving this. Really not. Unless We can do this right now. Come on. Survive it. Survive it. Survive this last bit. Oh. Honestly, I'm cutting it way too close with these boss fights. Way too close. Soul of Slave Knight Gael and the blood of the Dark Soul. Really? I'm sorry. Really? Once I've got my breath. They honestly knocked it out of the park with these bosses. Absolutely. Absolutely. But now my question. What happened to you, Gael? Soul of Slave Knight Gael, one of the twisted souls steeped in strength. The red-hooded, wandering Slave Knight Gael sought the blood of the Dark Soul as pigment for the painted world. But Gael knew he was no champion, that the Dark Soul would likely ruin him, and that he had little hope of a safe return. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, so... Wow. All this time, when Gael was actually leading us forwards, he knew he wasn't coming back. He knew we were a champion. He knew that he could collect the blood of the Dark Soul, but couldn't bring it back. That was our job. This was always a two-man job from the start. If only you had told us, Gael. If only you had told us. The blood of the Dark Soul, pigment to depict a painted world. Blood of the Dark Soul that seeped from the hole within Slave Knight Gael. Used as pigment by his lady in Ariandel to depict a painted world. When Gael came upon the Pygmy Lords, he discovered that their blood had long ago dried, and so consumed the Dark Soul. Honestly, for the Pygmy Lord to be the last one standing in this world of ash, that's honestly quite something. But this means, right now, there's not much remaining, is there? There really is not. I mean, we could level up, but what is leveling up going to do for us at this point in time? Next to nothing. Is there anything else that I still need to do? Not really. And the only thing right now that is left is to take a look and see what we could create with the Soul of Gael. Not that we would, but what we could. And one of those things is Gael's greatsword. The greatsword of Slave Knight Gael, the only weapon that he kept with him from beginning to end. Originally an executioner's sword made for decapitation, this blade is heavily chipped and stained with the blood of countless battles, including that of his own. With skill Blade of Peril, a precarious technique unique to undead Gael. Leap in any direction, slamming the greatsword to the ground, then follow its normal attack for a large spinning slash, or a strong attack to backstep and jump forward in an overhead slam. Again, so awesome, really awesome. But in the meantime, you had a crossbow that did not look like a normal Avalyn. Repeating crossbow. This crossbow, customized for repeat firing to face mobs alone, was wielded by Slave Knight Gael. Used in the battles of an endless journey, this crossbow is covered with twists and dinks, rusted with blood, and made extremely brittle from overuse. With skill Repeat Fire, assume a stance to activate the repeat firing mechanism and repeat fire with normal and strong attacks. Only 20 durability, that's indeed not really powerful, but pretty awesome weapon, nonetheless. But those souls, or those weapons, they do not belong to us. They really don't. And the only thing that I, at this point in time, can do... The Shrine Handmaid is not going to have any more armor, because we already have Slave Knight Gael's armor. Medea doesn't have something, nobody else had anything of this DLC, so you honestly don't have anything else unless I completely missed something. Which, let me quickly check, just in case. Nope, as expected.
Be sure to
Nothing.
bring more souls.
No, I'm afraid my days of giving you souls are, at this point in time, completely over. It really is weird that the end is here. The final challenges have been conquered. And I believe that I finally got good. But before we leave... Gael wanted this. So let's fulfill his last wish. Okay, when I would return here... I was not expecting the fire to be spreading like this. I mean... I guess it makes sense. I mean, the painted world is burning away slowly, but... to have the fire over here, that's weird. Is it also outside? Can't be outside, right? Nope. It ain't outside. But, yeah. Gael's last wish, he wanted to bring the pigment of the dark soul of man to his painter. He might not have made the journey to the end, but at least he did succeed. I get that the fire is not burning us, but really, this is just weird. Are you okay? I mean, you do know everything's on fire around you, right? Give the blood of the dark soul. No, first up, I want to talk.
Ashen One, thy gift of flame has taken root.
Yeah, I
And
noticed.
Uncle Gael will soon bring the pigment. Pigment, colored like the dark soul of man.
Okay, you say pigment colored like the dark soul of man. I seriously hope that you told him pigment like the dark soul of man and not pigment of the dark soul of man, because if this is all a misunderstanding and he sacrificed his life, traveled to the end of the worlds for just black dye. Oof. Anything else to say?
I wonder if Uncle Gael has found it. The pigment, colored like the dark soul of man.
Well, he certainly did his best, and he asked me to give you this. Blood of the dark soul. So that you may paint a painting, a cold, dark, and gentle place.
My thanks, Ashen One. With this will I paint a world. Please tell me thy name. I would name this painting after thee.
Do I share my name or tell I have no name? Do I want a painting to be named after me? For everyone to know what I did? For everything that I'm about to do on the outside? Or would it be better to just fade into obscurity? No one will know. I really don't know if there's a right or a wrong choice here, but... let me just be the silent hero. Let me be a role model for everyone. Maybe, maybe not. Let everyone decide for themselves. It's not all in the name, it's about the actions that we take. I have no name.
I see. We are much alike. Then I will name this painting Ash. It will be a cold, dark, and very gentle place. And one day, it will make someone a goodly home.
The painted world of Ash. Honestly, sounds fitting.
I wonder when Uncle Gael intends his return.
Yeah.
I hope the new painting will be to him a gentle home.
Okay, what am I supposed to say at this point in time? Your uncle is not coming back. That... oh boy.
My thanks, Ashen One. I will assuredly finish the painting of a cold, dark, and very gentle place. One day, it will make someone a goodly home.
It will make someone a goodly home indeed, surely.
My thanks, I will assure of a cold one day.
But that's not gonna be for Gael, is it? No. Well, with a little bit of imagination, just a tiny, tiny bit of imagination, maybe we can make this painting a goodly home for Gael. I'm not using the soul of Slave Knight Gael for myself. I'm using it for the painting so that he may live on. Whether or not it truly is like that, honestly, I don't care. But that is our action. Which means... goodbye, painter. Goodbye. And so, the end of our story is here. We traveled to the literal end of the world, in a time period that is either present or future. A place where events already took place, or a place which shows us what might happen with our final choice. And at the end, I can't help but think back to Solaire of Astora from Dark Souls 1, almost 4 years ago now. We are amid strange beings in a strange land where the flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. And I think this is the most fitting moment for our story to end. Although the details are still obscure, we can at least look back upon a wonderful journey filled with grand adventures, trials and tribulations. And on the way, who knows? Maybe we've inspired others to go on their own journey as well. Let new adventures and worlds flourish, as if it's the creation of a new painting. I will still be going over a heap load of thoughts regarding Dark Souls 3 during the credits and possibly even afterwards, and I might still end up making a final death-defied episode like I did for Dark Souls 1 and 2, but before we reach that point, let me just say this. Thank you. Thank you for joining me on these adventures. Thank you for supporting me and the channel by watching this series and perhaps even sharing it with others to help the Wolfden grow. Without you, whether or not you were here from the very start or if you've only joined recently, without you, this would not have been the same. But at this point, with the first flame in front of us, after all this time, reduced to mere cinders, it's time to say goodbye to the old world. For if there is no end, there can be no beginning. All good things must come to an end.
The first flame quickly fades. Darkness will shortly settle. But one day, tiny flames will dance across the darkness. Like embers linked by Lord's pass. Ashen One, hearest thou my voice still?
Almost 4 years. From start to finish. Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 3. It has been an absolute pleasure. But before I start this long ramble regarding all my thoughts, there are 2 things I feel like I have to address first. Starting with the death counter. We've now used it for all 3 games, and it has been the perfect tool to see how well I fared against the challenges the games would throw at me, and how much I have grown over the course of these 3 games. But at some point, one begins to wonder if it was the right choice to add such a counter to these Let's Plays. Did I perhaps begin to focus too much on avoiding death? Maybe? Or has all of this just been the perfect complement to my slower and more careful playstyle? I mean, take Subnautica for example. Didn't die a single time during that first playthrough, and there was no death count present at all. Sure, it's not a difficult game, but I still avoided death like the plague. Hollow Knight is a similar story. No death count, but I still did everything within my power to stay alive. In Dark Souls, obviously the stakes are a lot higher, but might the death counter have affected things? I can't say for sure since we're dealing with my personality here, but I do feel like the death counter served its purpose. All the Let's Plays I've seen, like the one from Playframe with their side quest series, also made use of a death counter, even if the difference is quite visible. But that brings me to the next bit, and that is that part of me feels a little bit bad about how things have seemingly gone with Dark Souls 3. At times, it feels like as if I haven't really met the expectations of people in the long run. I mean, I have defeated almost every boss on my first try, with a few of the really difficult ones being extremely close calls, but by now I have heard how much other people have struggled with Medir or Gael, and even bosses from the base game like Pontiff Sullivan or the Dancer. And to then see me pass those challenges without failing countless of times, even taking them down on my first try. I am sorry if you were hoping for more, cause even I am amazed by how well things have gone for me. The faster combat felt like it would be a massive issue at the start, but either through skill I've adapted, or through sheer luck I have survived. Maybe you can say that I had an easy time because of the weapons I used, because, fair point, had I dealt less damage to some of the bosses, they would have gotten me for sure. Maybe you can say I had an easy time because I was overleveled, but at the same time, I never grinded for levels and had only got so strong because I never ended up losing my souls. And because exploration rewarded me so much. But for me, personally, the growth has been crystal clear. And even though I died a lot less this time around, I wouldn't say that Dark Souls 3 felt easier than the previous games. I honestly think I have just gotten better at using my skill set, and Dark Souls 1 and 2 have been the perfect tutors for it. Because right now I can only imagine how different things would have been if I had started things with Dark Souls 3 as the first Let's Play and would have moved on towards Dark Souls 2 and then 1. I would die over and over in this game only to grow as a person and a gamer as I progressed on that journey, only to probably conquer Dark Souls 1 with a lot more ease. But all of that brings me to a single point which I've mentioned now and then on this journey through the 3 Dark Souls games. I have never played these games for their brutal difficulty. I've never cared about a boss being too easy, I've never cared about using archery to my advantage, and I've never cared about being overleveled. If I had been after a challenge, I'd never even have upgraded my weapon so far in the first place. All I've cared about from the very start was to have these games be an epic adventure, to have fun, and to enjoy the journey. And what an amazing journey it has been for me. And on the way, I've seen what improvements have been made over the course of these 3 games. When we reached the end of Dark Souls 2, I had the experience of the first game to compare things to, so I guess it only makes sense to do the same in this instance. I'm sure to forget about a few things along the way, so if I do forget about something and you've got questions, feel free to ask them in the comments down below, but hopefully with the voltage review scoring system in mind as a guideline, we can at least touch upon most of the subjects. Starting with the visuals, continue with the overall story, level design, time scale, followed by the audio, gameplay and enjoyment. Voltage. And prepare yourself for this first one, might be controversial, but I'm not entirely sure what to think of the visuals in Dark Souls 3, for if I have to be honest, a big part of me preferred the color scheme of Dark Souls 2. Now, don't get me wrong, the details of the environment were a huge step up compared to the previous games, obviously. I mean, take the sites of Lothric Castle, Irithyll of the Boreal Valley, or the insides of the Cathedral of the Deep, the beauty of the Ringed City, the looks of bosses and enemies. There's some pretty stunning stuff, but if I have to use a single word to describe most of Dark Souls 3, it would be grey, or depressing, which I guess makes sense for the state of the world to drive home that desperation, but it honestly was a bit much at times. Compared to Dark Souls 1 and 2, I had a lot more trouble with getting some decent screenshots for certain episode thumbnails, with me having to mess around with the contrast and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of the colors just blended together. That's where I'm coming from with the grey. A lot of areas look the same in that sense. Things looked beautiful, but at the end of the day, I still prefer the feel of areas like Hyde's Tower of Flame, or even the green poison madness of the Black Gulch, or the red hotness of the Iron Keep. The best way I can describe things would be to say it was all beautiful in its own way, but different. And different might also be a good word to use for the overall story. Dark Souls has always been confusing in its lore to me. A clear story can only be seen and understood when you pay attention to minute details, and whereas this normally is already difficult with the way of storytelling in these games, Dark Souls 3 truly went more towards the whole idea of time is convoluted. And although an interesting subject, it did get quite confusing now and then. Especially when you're dealing with time travel and no longer know what is past, present and future. Was our Firelink Shrine just an illusion because we saw the Flameless Shrine and the Darkened Firelink Shrine? A side effect of Ludleth willing himself a lord? All of a sudden you're dealing with many different possibilities and even possible alternate timelines and realities, which just ends up making my head spin. Dark Souls 1 and 2 were also confusing, but at the end of the day I feel like I understood the stories in those 2 games a lot better than this one. But my guess is that once I finish catching up with Vatividia's Dark Souls lore videos, I might appreciate and understand things a lot more. I still got the general gist of things, and figuring out the story was enjoyable, so that is all I can ask for. Now for level design. With Dark Souls 2 I mentioned how it felt like the game went for a lot more vertical level design, with stuff like the Pit and Majula, what was the place? The Gutter, Earthen Peak, and the DLCs, especially DLCs, Broom Tower. Dark Souls 3 has its fair share of that too, but at the same time, they also returned to the connected world feeling of Dark Souls 1 with shortcuts that kept looping back to previous bonfires. That was something which I enjoyed quite a bit from Dark Souls 1, so I was happy to see that return. And also, oh thank God they went a bit easier on the player in regards to the ambushes from Dark Souls 2. It might just be that I've gotten better to such a degree that I handle the challenges better, which most certainly is why the death counter ended up being so low, but from a design point of view, even though I died less, I'm not entirely sure which of the 3 games would be the hardest. Just because I didn't die as much does not mean that Dark Souls 3 was easy for me, far from it. But when you then look at the time scale, I had heard that people found Dark Souls 3 to be on the short side of things, and although it's most likely just my playstyle, I can safely say that I enjoyed these 119 episodes. I was kind of worried that we were on track of surpassing the lengthy Dark Souls 2, however, but good news, it did not get that out of hand. And even at the end of it all, there is still room to play around with the Spears of the Church Covenant, seeing how it's part of the endgame, even though wait times are pretty horrendous. But there honestly is something for everyone. Now, when we move over to audio, however, this feels like one of the bigger changes. Dark Souls has always been limited with music since it only plays during boss fights or in areas like Firelink Shrine and Majula. This is still the case, but dear God, have the boss soundtracks become awesome spectacles, fitting the insanity that goes on in-game. The accentuation of the music in the second phases inside of battles like with Ford or the Abyss Watchers is just beautiful. Every battle is made even more epic because of the music. And the worst thing is, one can't truly appreciate it during the battles because of everything that is just going on. So I'll be sure to listen to the official soundtrack just so that I can re-experience these amazing tracks. There is one thing I need to complain about though, and that has to do with the ambient sounds. For some reason, if you switch equipment, it instantly resets the ambient sounds like winds howling, and it just sounds off. I've never experienced this in a game before, and when looking online, it seems to be a problem which many others have had, which requires some kind of workaround, but something like that shouldn't be required. There have been other bugs and glitches in the game, but I'm just surprised that the audio ones weren't fixed, especially with the problem seemingly being quite widespread. But moving on from audio, let's talk about gameplay and the biggest change. The combat speed. People weren't kidding that Dark Souls 3 had sped up the combat compared to Dark Souls 1 and 2. And although I adapted quite quickly to this new speed, with the journey up to Vord being my teacher and with Vord himself being the exam, the difference was certainly noticeable. At the same time, because there has been quite some time in between games for me, I'm not entirely sure if my feelings are correct, but for Dark Souls 3, it absolutely felt like the focus was shifted, with some enemies and bosses requiring you to spam those dodges, whereas other bosses like Nameless King, Pontiff Sullivan and Gael all require you to be a bit more careful with them constantly roll catching you. Overall, the combat felt pretty good, albeit a bit hectic at some points in time. I'm not sure if I prefer the more slow and methodical combat of Dark Souls 1 and 2, or the speedier combat of Dark Souls 3, but in the end, each game felt quite balanced. Sister Frida's final phase, however, could have been slowed a bit down though, because dear God, that fight turned into a pure panic fest in the end. Then you had also the other addition, which was the FP system. I love this idea, and although I'm not much of a spellcaster in regards to combat, the idea to make spells have their own bar like health and stamina was just brilliant for Dark Souls, and to then link that blue bar to weapon arts for melee users, just brilliant. Sure, it is your basic mana system, but for Dark Souls it was a new addition and a welcome one. And although I mostly stuck to my trusty Lothric Knight sword because of the easier to use guard break, the variety that is possible, especially with boss weapons. Not all of it might be equally useful, but it most certainly sounds epic. Which brings me to my final point, enjoyment. And this one is always subjective and fully dependent on how a playthrough goes for someone. Except for a few snacks along the way, like random glitches and the Knight Lido fight. Yes, I'm still salty about that one. This journey has been awesome and a true joy, which at the same time, might actually be the perfect moment to speak about the bosses. Dark Souls 1 had some pretty awesome battles, and although there were a few duplicates like the demons, with some of them ending up as normal enemies too at some point, most of them were pretty unique. And at the end of the day, I am still of the opinion that Manus, Father of the Abyss, was my favorite battle in that game. Dark Souls 2 went above and beyond, as we know, with the amount of bosses, but as a result it lacked quite a bit in quality for some of them. Some just felt too easy, even for me, and you had a few of the duplicates like the Smelter Demon, Dragon Riders or the Tigers. It's hard to pinpoint an absolute favorite boss from that lineup, since I prefer the beast-like bosses the most, and Dark Souls 2 had quite the affinity for the humanoid knight bosses. I think at this point in time it is a toss-up between the Burnt Ivory King for the awesomeness of that battle, or Ava the King's Pet for just being pretty sweet. Which finally brings us to Dark Souls 3 and about the bosses in general. Wow, just wow. I just mentioned it after defeating Gael, but they truly knocked it out of the park when it comes to the bosses. Every fight was epic in its own way and completely different from one another. The variety was just so diverse. I actually don't think that there is a single boss I didn't like. Even the Ancient Wyvern was cool because of what they did with the battle. Sure, there was a one-hit kill and the actual boss was the arena itself, but scaling those walls while an angry wyvern roared at me was still awesome. Which makes pointing out my favorite boss that much more difficult, and I fear it's gone to the point where the only thing I can do is to point out my least favorite bosses, which is pretty meaningless since I still liked them. But for me, the Curse Rotted Greatwood, Crystal Sage, Deacons of the Deep, Old Demon King, Ancient Wyvern, Champion's Gravetender and Half-Light Spear of the Church, they do not deserve the best boss title for me, which leaves all the other ones who are still eligible. So in that regard, I don't think I can truly pick a favorite. The best thing which Dark Souls 3 improved upon over the first two games is 100% the boss quality. Now, I don't know what is going to happen in the future. I doubt that a Dark Souls 4 will ever be made since the story is basically complete. And at the same time, I don't expect a game like the Demon Souls remaster to appear on Steam, which, in regards to Dark Souls, only leaves the fabled Elden Ring. Now, maybe by the time this video goes public we might have heard a bit more about that elusive game, but there's honestly no telling whether or not it will be something for me. I mean, I'm skipping Sekiro Shadows Die twice, so even if it is a game for me, who knows. I might only end up playing Elden Ring years and years after its original release, if ever. I mean, just take The Witcher 3 for example. Still have to play it, but when? I honestly don't know. But even though this is the end of our Dark Souls adventure, even though we don't know what the future will hold, as before, I still want to thank you for joining me. The channel is around 5 to 6 years old right now, and 4 of those years have had some pretty amazing Dark Souls adventures in them. I've loved having you around, and hopefully you'll stick around for all the other adventures that still await us. So, let me end this the way I always do. Thank you so much for watching. Have a very nice day, and as always, have fun.